Say his name and he'll appear. I believe in Joe Hendry. And I tell you what will also appear. Numbers. Fused. Because Joe Hendry has outperformed Cody Rhodes on the development brand. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Wrestling. The NXT ratings are in. And surprise, surprise, I think this is pretty embarrassing. Not a good look for Cody Rhodes, because this week's show is actually up on last week's show. Last week did 718,000 views. This week's show is up 1%. It did 724,000 views. And in the 18 to 49 demographic, it did a 0.26, which is the highest key demo that NXT has done since November 7th, 2023. So you can talk about Sexy Red being on NXT. You can talk about Cody Rhodes being on NXT. Yet it is the episode where Joe Hendry appears. Say his name and he appears. And it looks like a lot of people also appeared in to see the TNA sensation.
It's a go for Joe. I believe in Joe Hendry, and the viewers believed in Joe Hendry, even if he did get jobbed out by a wonky ass Shawn Michaels. But yeah, I mean, a decent rating nonetheless for NXT, and it just goes to show that Cody Rhodes ain't worth a damn.
No, it's a poor look when the main champion, when the number one guy in the company, the guy that's been pushed as the next top star, the top babyface, when he comes to NXT and then 1 week later is getting outperformed in the numbers, and you've got to assume that Joe Hendry is a big part of that, then it's not a good look for Cody Rhodes. There's no excuses. You can't say this one was taped. You can't say that Sexy Red was not there and it was coming off of her for the previous week, whereas people didn't tune in. There's no real excuses. Also, the one that Cody appeared on was the show after a premium live event, which would tend to draw more. So you can look at it any way you want, but this is poor here. The fact that this week's number outdrew last week's number, it's not a good look for Cody Rhodes, the World Heavyweight Champion.
No, it's not a good look, and I think it's weird though if you think of it, like, oh, Sexy Red's on NXT, I'm going to watch that show. I can't think of anybody in the entire world, right, that would appear on a show that I don't watch or interested in. It would make me tune into it that night.
I totally agree, and I'm trying to think of the kind of people that are going to listen to Sexy Red songs. I don't see them tuning in to watch a 2-hour NXT show because she might appear a few times.
No, they probably don't have cable for a start, or don't pay for it. I mean, I just don't see how it would go down.
Yeah, I don't really see that happening, but anyway, this week's NXT is 724,000 viewers, and like I said, the best key demo in over 6 months. So NXT, Joe Hendry doing something right this week. I believe, though, this is the 4th consecutive week that NXT has drawn 700,000 viewers or above, which is decent, to be fair. Step in the right direction for sure.
Yeah, step in the right direction for sure. But I think with the whole Sexy Red thing, you look at Logan Paul. Logan Paul's much more known than Sexy Red, but is he real? Does he bring in massive numbers? Like, ratings-wise? He doesn't, because I just think the sort of people, like, they're into social media. They're just not the sort of people that's into the ratings and into, like, watching a TV show like that. I don't think it is. I think I will actually sympathise with wrestling and also TV programmes. I think that generation kind of don't really give a damn about it, if I'm being truthful. Like, the new generation. Like the younger generation. And I think, oh, the 18 to 49, you guys talk shite. The 18 to 49 demographic is a load of mince. It is.
Yeah, there's no real difference between a 17 and an 8-year-old, and there's no real difference between a 49 and a 50-year-old. I mean, you don't automatically stop buying things or watching things just because you get like 1 year older. I mean, maybe there's things at 17 that you can't buy until you're 18 or whatnot, but the key demo for me, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. I maybe you can make a case that, yeah, kids can't buy certain things. If you're under 18, you can't buy certain things. But when it comes to like the adult, the older range of the demo, then like what could you be advertising to a 49-year-old that a 50-year-old wouldn't be interested in?
No, it makes no sense. You're from the same generation. Come on, it is baffling.
I've always thought the key demo was way too wide of a range. I don't see how you can group 18 to 49 in the same category and try and appeal to that one, because it's not a one audience. It's not like a certain kind of group. You've got so many different age ranges in that range. It's mental. Anyway, not here to rant about the key demo, but let's talk about the key numbers and the YouTube views. So, in first place, we have, say his name, Joe Hendry is in NXT. This got 521,000 views, over 500,000 views on NXT. I mean, this is numbers that really you would only see on Raw or SmackDown, and it's not like Raw and SmackDown do these numbers every single week. This would be like a rare sort of number for Raw and SmackDown to get. Yet Joe Hendry turning up in NXT is getting it. And if we compare it to Cody Rhodes last week, Cody Rhodes appearing on NXT to cut a promo with Trick Williams got 225,000 views, and Joe Hendry has 521,000 views. So almost 300,000 more views, and he's had a full week less to gain those numbers. That's crazy when you look at it.
Crazy numbers. I don't know if they're testing the waters with Joe Hendry, right? But I mean, I think that's piss poor. It's like, oh, we'll have him job out, but if the number does good, then we'll bring him back soon.
AJ Styles calling out Cody Rhodes. The whole Twitter promo on SmackDown last week got 257,000 views. You can add Cody's promo from NXT and add Cody's promo from SmackDown together, and they still don't even beat Joe Hendry's video from NXT. And the Cody Rhodes one on SmackDown was uploaded 5 days ago, and the NXT one was uploaded over 8 days ago.
I believe in Joe Hendry.
So, just comparing these numbers to Cody Rhodes, I mean, they're not looking good.
No, they're not looking good, and it's nothing we don't know. Like, obviously, yeah, people did tune into NXT for Cody Rhodes, but we're talking minuscule amounts, man. His clips never really draw. I mean, they only really drew when he was, like, with The Rock. And, I mean, come on, a big bag of dog shite could draw with The Rock.
Yeah, I mean, if you go further back and you look at the Raw from, like, 10 days ago, the only thing beating the Joe Hendry numbers is Ricochet getting taken out backstage, Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio and the whole key card shit, and then Liv Morgan sitting on top of Dominic Mysterio. But you've got to believe that within a day, the Joe Hendry will probably top the Ricochet and key card numbers, and the only one it probably will not top is Liv Morgan sitting on top of Dominic Mysterio. But that's because sex sells, and that is obviously going to, do the best. So yeah, just look at these numbers here for Joe Hendry, man, completely destroying everything else that is happening right now on these shows. So massive numbers for Joe Hendry.
Like, obviously it's a debut from him, and that's going to obviously get more his first appearance rather than his second appearance. But guarantee you, if he appears next week in NXT, it'll still do better than what Cody Rhodes did on NXT. Guaranteed, hands down. Bob's your uncle. Good night. The guy is a draw. No, he's not a massive draw by any means. He does need exposure on the major networks. You can only do so much in TNA. It's like the Hardys going back to TNA for AEW. They're the Hardys, but they're not going to have like a legendary end of their career in TNA. The same way Joe Hendry's not going to have a legendary career in TNA. He needs to move to WWE.
Well, Ethan Page, his debut from 3 weeks ago, has got 275,000 views, and this is a guy that has spent like 4 years in AEW.
The big leagues.
So, I mean, this clip's been uploaded for, 22 days now, 23 days, and it's got almost half the amount of views as Joe Hendry.
Yeah, so he's had all the time in the world to catch him. He's had like a 20-day head start, and he's more than double behind.
So, there you go. It's not just the fact that Joe Hendry has like, debuted, it's just the fact that it's Joe Hendry. So, great numbers there, but we will look at the rest of the clips now. So, obviously, Joe Hendry was in first place. Second place, we had the full match, which was the NXT number 1 contender Battle Royal. This got 198,000. Joe Hendry was in that. Third place is the full NXT highlights, 82,000 views. Joe Hendry was in that. So, the top 3 vids here are all Joe Hendry. And then you go into fourth place, and it's a big drop-off, 67,000 views. Wes Lee wants to go to war with Opa Vimy. 5th place, 63,000 views, Roxanne Perez and Lola Fice versus Metaphor versus JC Jane and Jasmine Nix. 6th place, another 63,000 views, Siobhan Evans versus Ethan Page. 7th place, 55,000 views, Kalani Jordan versus Michin for the North American title. And in 8th place, 25,000 views, it was the ending. Javon Evans wins the Battle Royal to face Trick Williams at Heatwave. So, I mean, nobody was interested in seeing Javon Evans win the Battle Royal. They all wanted to see Joe Hendry win it based on those numbers. But I would say it's concerning how they can bring in an outside guy from TNA that has had no real exposure. The guy's pretty much only really known for creating funny feds. That's what he's most known for. And he's completely blown away anything else on the show, and it's not even close.
No, it's not even close, and that's Triple H's motto. We don't want to create stars. Well, see, if we don't create stars, that means you're going to be the exact same as every other company. And with Joe Hendry, you know what? Fucking... See Gunther, hoover that title shot that he's got booked in for SummerSlam. Give it to fucking this guy.
Why not?
No, well, you know, why not?
This guy's more popular than Gunther. This guy's more interesting than Gunther.
I believe in the nipples.
Anyway, guys, do you believe in the nipples? Let us know down below. But yeah, it's just crazy that Joe Hendry can come in and deliver these crazy numbers that, you know, they absolutely dwarf what Cody Rhodes was doing last week on NXT.
The Performance Center was shaking. Right?
It was.
When does Gunther get arenas shaking? The guy's that bad, he can't appear before his match because he can't cut promos.
Yeah, and then you got Joe Hendry comes out, cuts a promo like he's been in the business 20 years.
See,
Sounds like The Rock compared to everyone else.
But see, Joe Hendry, right? I've never really watched a Joe Hendry match. I'm going to go out on a limb and say he probably isn't the best in the ring. Who cares? He's got the character.
He's a bang average worker, but I don't give a shit how he works. You know, he can talk. He's funny as fuck.
But so's like LA Knight.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say LA Knight's particularly good.
No, LA Knight's a bang average worker, but, you know, who cares how they work? It's all about the work that they do on that microphone. And LA Knight, Joe Hendry, these guys come across as stars, look like stars, talk like stars, carry themselves like stars. They should be the stars, but will it happen?
He's 36. Pull the trigger.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like you can go, well, let's give Joe Hendry a couple more years in the Indies and then we'll see about bringing them in.
No.
I mean, this guy is fucking dangerously close to 40.
Aye. So get him in.
Never mind NXT. Should be brought into the main fucking roster.
He should be.
Anyway, guys, that's it. Let us know your thoughts down below and we'll catch you in the next one. Until then, we believe in Joe Hendry. Peace.